is up, everybody? Welcome to the IGN All-Stars Community Podcast. This is episode 2 of the podcast. We had a great pilot episode, our kind of coming out party. I'm your host, the epic Jake James Lugo, and with me is my compatriot, Mr. Peter Lopez. Peter, how you doing?
What's up?
Whoa.
What's up, everybody?
Whoa, listen to that crisp audio. Man.
That's right, baby. I got it right this time.
Oh, man. I mean, one of the big complaints or kind of gripes that everybody had in our pilot episode was the sound quality, for all of us. And now we kind of responded to that really quickly. We had a quick solution after we put up the first episode, and you're sounding really crisp, Peter. You're sounding good.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Crisp and awesome.
We're coming out. So we're classy.
Hopefully we get it
Very
right.
classy now, my man, as Dudley would say. But yeah. This is the IGN All-Stars Community Podcast, Episode 2. We got a lot of cool, great stuff to talk about and exciting things for all of you listeners out there. We're on iTunes now. Thanks God. It's pretty awesome. A lot of different spots for you guys to kind of download and interact with the podcast. But before we get into any of that stuff later on, Peter, my man, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown of what it means to be an IGN All-Star as well as what we're all about?
Sure. So what we're all about is basically being involved with the community. We want to hear your guys' voices. We loved the feedback that we got from all of you who gave us feedback through Twitter, through email, social media of all kinds, really. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. We need it. But we're all about the community. We're all about you guys. So we want to be there for you, okay? Basically what it is to be an IGN All-Star is an IGN All-Star is a member of the IGN community who contributes to IGN.com in the form of wikis, blogs, editorials, pretty much whatever you want to do on IGN.com, you are already a member of the IGN community.
Nice.
Anyone can submit an application to become an IGN All-Star. It's not an exclusive club where you have to pay a grip of money. It's actually the opposite. It's free to sign up, and you actually get hooked up with a free Prime subscription for a year. And I can tell you I've had it for a few days, and I love it already.
Same here.
I am sick and tired of ads.
Yeah, me too. I hate those ads. Those ads are annoying.
I'm tired of watching trailers before I get to like the main course. So Prime is totally wicked. But basically, just submit an application, and it will definitely help you out. If you want to submit an application, we'll have a link to it in the show notes of how to be involved with it. And just head over to IGN.com and just be active with the community.
So basically, it's like, a short-end version of that, to put that all in a nutshell. Just basically, if you come to the website, if you go in the comment section, you're commenting on your favorite article, latest episode of like Beyond or something, or a cool video, and you're just constantly doing that every once in a while, not every once in a blue moon, like once a year or something like that, then pretty much you could be an IGN All-Star along with the rest of us. Again, it's all about getting everybody involved. We are all in. That's our thing. Everybody's in on this, so it's going to be cool. But, Peter, let's get into what's hot on IGN right now. Let's do this. We're gonna hit the ground running on this one. Okay, let's talk about this trailer that kind of dropped for Halo 5 Guardians, the beta. You went a little bit nuts over this because you love Halo. Everybody likes Halo.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody, but I like Halo as well. I played a Master Chief Collection some time ago. So tell us a little bit about this trailer. Some of your thoughts on it.
Dude, basically it was just a brief, maybe a 2-minute, 3-minute trailer of the multiplayer aspect of Halo 5 Guardians. Anyone who purchased the Master Chief Collection basically has access to this, and I believe it starts on the 25th and it runs until maybe, excuse me, the 16th or the 17th of January.
Definitely.
But just my key takeaway from it, dude, is that it looks, not only does it look awesome, it looked a lot like Titanfall for some reason. I got a lot of that in there. I got a lot of Halo Reach from it.
True.
It looks like it's going to move faster. It's not real sluggish like Halo 2 or Halo 3 where you're not running, you're more of just like, walking a little fast. So it's definitely fast paced. It's got that whole arena feel to it, so it's not like Blood Gulch where it's humongous.
That Unreal Tournament feel? It's got a little bit of that Unreal Tournament feel to it?
Yeah, and that's really where it's at, man. I'm super stoked for it. I'm glad I bought Master Chief despite of its problems.
Yeah,
but
those issues 3, 4, 3, man. I want to play Halo 1 Anniversary online. Come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, the Halo 5 Guardians beta trailer, that's a mouthful, was pretty dope.
I mean, some of my impressions of it, it looked cool. I'm kind of a little bit on the flip side of you because I love Halo, and I think Halo 2, Halo 3 is probably my favorite overall. And watching this trailer, it had that excitement to it. It's going back to that 4-player arena style combat, like what you saw a lot in Halo 1, Halo 2. You know, which is cool. That's a lot of the MLG type of style stuff. But just going off this trailer, like, I'm not too excited about it. I mean,
really?
To be honest with you, it looks cool, and I'm probably going to check it out, and I'm probably going to play it, you know, along with friends and stuff. But it wasn't giving me that same oomph or that same punch is what I got from watching other trailers from, like, earlier this year for other games, that multiplayer or otherwise. Like, I know it's going to be good. I know it's Halo, but they haven't really kind of pulled me in yet. They haven't given me that Godfather pull yet.
So what exactly are you looking for then? What do you want to basically, you know, make your Halo 5 experience?
Well, here's the thing. Like, they have the weapons. They pretty much, most of the weapons that what you see in the trailer, you know, and all the different promotional material for it is all stuff we've seen in past Halos. I would like to see some more new weapons. I would like to see some much more intricate, crazier looking maps, because the maps from what I've seen on there, I think there was a couple shots of like some re-renditions of like some past Halo maps, or like stuff that gives a lot of that nostalgic feel from like earlier like Halo 2, Halo 3 types of multiplayer maps that have that same feel. Not exactly the same levels, but like, again, look very similar. Like, one of the levels, I swear to God, looks like the dropship level from Halo 2. Like, that same level when you're in the Covenant, like, spaceship, looks almost very, very, very similar to that. Like, and that's cool. Again, that gives the fans a little bit of that fan service and whatnot, but I want to see something different. This is a brand new Halo game. I want to have a whole new flavor injected into the Halo universe.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Destiny. You know, I don't know if you play Destiny, but the guy jumps in the air and he'll do like a crash landing into the ground, and that will just wipe out anybody that's there. I've seen that in the Guardians beta trailer.
I don't know if that necessarily is in-game, though. Like, to me, that looks a little bit pre-rendered, because they showed some shots of like that pre-render stuff they showed. I think it was during E3. Or like sometime like after E3, like they were saying like the beta is coming. I don't know if that necessarily is in like the game as you're playing stuff. If it is, all the more better. It's gonna look sweet.
It looked like it was. It looked like it was.
I don't know. I didn't think it actually was. Like, to me, it looked a little bit too polished for that. To be honest with you, maybe it's just me. Again, like, we're still a little bit of a ways off from it coming out. You know, everybody's anticipating it, but hopefully so. Like, again, I want some new stuff added to the Halo universe that's really gonna get me excited about Halo again. Okay. Which is cool. But yeah, Halo 5 Guardians beta coming out soon. It's going to be amazing. With that being said, though, let's talk about what else has been hot on IGN. I've actually been perusing around the blog section, you know, looking at some cool stuff, and I found 3 blogs from 3 different users, you know, that wrote up some interesting stuff that I actually wanted to bring to light, you know, spotlight a little bit, if you will. So, check it out. This comes from Smaller Than Galaxies over on MyIGN, okay? He talks about the best small moments in video games. And he brings up a couple, you know, from BioShock Infinite, from The Last of Us, from Infamous 2. And the whole idea, again, I encourage you guys to go over and check out the blog, you know, for the full listing. But the whole idea behind it is that those smaller moments that aren't necessarily the clutch or like the big iconic moments of what these games are associated with, is those smaller moments that kind of give you that, you know, gives you a second to kind of take in what's happening. It's kind of, you know, be engrossed in the worlds, you know, of the game. Pretty much. One of the examples I used in The Last of Us was the draft scene. When Ellie and Joel are walking around, they see this like herd of drafts in this area, or one of the drafts that Ellie's actually able to go up and actually pet it. It was a nice touching moment that kind of resonates with you, that you may not remember immediately, but like, you know, as soon as it comes up again and whatnot, you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's right, that happened. And it was a nice little neat moment. Like, do you remember any sort of moments, you know, from games you played in the past that were like really cool, that weren't necessarily super huge?
For me, it was more of when I was playing Valiant Hearts, just kind of being immersed in the game and the story. It was something small. I mean, it's you see it in movies, right? Where, and spoiler alert if you haven't played it yet, but you know, you see it in movies where the guy is dragged away to war, and you know, it's like, okay, it's typical, right? But in this game, they did it so perfectly to where the music flowed with it. The dialogue was a main contributing factor to it. And I mean, like I said, you see it all the time in movies, but just with this particular video game, it was like, wow, you know, it really hit home. It was just like, it was kind of emotional, not to sound weird, but it was definitely
the feels,
something that and that's really what made it great.
The feels were good, especially that dog in that game. The dog, yeah, man. Everybody loves the dog, man. But the main point of this blog, and what I thought was so interesting, is those small moments, those small little type of things that, again, they're not huge, but like they give the game and the experience a little bit more personality, a little bit allows you to become more engrossed with it, and it really kind of gives you that good feeling of playing that game. Now, that was one. So the second one that I thought was pretty cool actually comes from Zelda Final Fantasy fan. Okay, he talks about playing games without using an instruction manual. This is a very old school kind of approach to gaming, especially if you're into the retro style of games. All the way back on NES, Sega Genesis, even Famicom, Master System or whatnot. But he pretty much talks about Kid Icarus, diving into Kid Icarus now that he's a little bit older, and not even looking at the instruction manual, but having that kind of like that feeling of exploration of that unknown when playing a game. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, it's that same type of feeling when you get from like playing The Legend of Zelda for the first time, and like you maybe didn't grow up in that era, so you probably just bought the cartridge at like a garage sale or something, and then like diving into it, and it's like that sense of wonder and adventure.
Yeah, that for me, that was like a Link to the Past. I had no idea what that game was about. I mean, I got a secondhand copy. I didn't get it brand new. I forgot who had gave it to me. It was like a hand-me-down. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to dive into this world, and just not having any knowledge of what the Legend of... Well, I hadn't played the original Legend of Zelda, but I didn't know what this one was about. And so I just kind of dived right into it, and it's one of my favorite video games, but yeah, definitely I didn't need it.
Yeah, like growing up for me, like I was a Genesis kid, and one of the things, about instruction manuals specifically, for me, instruction manuals were like, look at the pretty artwork and look at like some of the screenshots of the game. Like I never really dived into an instruction manual until I got much older, looking on like, how to play the game specifically. Like I remember playing Altered Beast back on the Sega Genesis, and like that really cool looking, artwork that was not only on the box but also on the manual. I was like, wow, like I wish the game kind of looked like that. I would look and peruse through the instruction manuals, looking at all the illustrations of the monsters and stuff, and to me that was cool. But I would primarily focus and learn about the game while playing the game. Like that was like my thing, and I'm pretty sure a thing for a lot of people growing up in those retro times.
Yeah, and now, it's unfortunate that we don't even get instruction manuals anymore in brand new $60 video games.
Or we get like the really menial skinny ones that tell about like the warranty.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a warranty. It's not an instruction manual. And how crazy video games are now, you have like a controller with 16 buttons. Or if you're playing PC, you definitely need to know what E does, or W or whatever.
You need a Bible.
You need them now more than ever. And I think companies really got to jump on that. And it's annoying because you're paying $60 for a CD, and all you're really getting is just the CD in a box.
I mean,
and that's
some of the more contemporary guys, especially Nintendo, still kind of goes on with that tradition. They've always, even back on the NES days, they had colorful manuals that were packaged with their games. But to me, it's a long lost art form. Like, it's something that's forgotten more for the sake, not because it was bad, but because of to save money on the budget, for most of these games. But I digress. And finally, was it the last thing I wanted to kind of bring up, was some of the comments and some of the feedback we were getting on the last episode of the podcast, our pilot. Yeah. Some of the great feedback. You guys are amazing. Within a day, we not only got a bunch of comments on the IGN blogs when I posted up the episode 1, the pilot, but also we were able to get up on iTunes, which is really cool. And some of the feedback, was pretty awesome. I mean, some of you guys loved, the dynamic that me and Peter have. Some of you guys love some of the topics, and like that we're finally spotlighting the community and some of the stuff that's going on within the forums and such. That was pretty cool. So a big thank you to all of you guys out there. It's really, really cool. But
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So let's get into this episode's feature. Let's talk about games of the year.
Yes.
Everybody's favorite time of the year, the closing off of one year and the beginning of something new. So IGN has a bunch of their picks for Game of the Year for 2014, and there's a lot of tough ones that you can make an argument for any one of these titles, for these games. So Peter, if you could give us a rundown, some of the big picks, for this year.
For IGN's best overall, they threw out games like Sunset Overdrive, Bayonetta 2, Super Smash Bros. Wii U, South Park: The Stick of Truth, Shovel Knight, Shadow of Mordor, and Hearthstone. And you can also check out their best of 2014 on IGN's website. And we'll try and see if we can throw a link in there.
Definitely.
in the show notes. But one of the games that really stood out to me was obviously Smash. I'm a big Nintendo guy. I love Super Smash Bros.
Me too.
And another one is Child of Light.
Very good RPG.
Super emotional video game. Very good RPG video game. If you guys haven't played that yet, just go and try it. Play it. I think it's like $15.
Real cheap now.
Yeah, it's super cheap and it's worth playing. If you're looking to play something, you either have like a video game drought going on, or maybe you're kind of short on cash and you got like $15 to burn. Child of Light is definitely a game to look into. And another one that stood out to me, and one of the last ones is Hearthstone. And that game is so freaking addicting. If you guys are playing this video game, you already know how addicting it can be.
Yeah. I mean, here's the crazy thing about this year. Like, I feel like this year is different than past years because every single one of the nominees is a game you could make a super strong argument for being the best game of the year. Because, I mean, look at a game like South Park that came out earlier this year. Nobody expected that game to be good, number one. Number two, that is a game that still holds up to all these games that are on this list because it's an RPG that not only knows what it wants to be and it kind of like sticks to it, has a lot of the old school nuances to JRPGs from back in the day, but like it's a game with such personality that really stands out amongst like all these different nominees. At the same time, again, you look at games like Bayonetta 2, you look at games like Sunset Overdrive, Smash Brothers, Transistor. Again, they all have all similar qualities that they're all different types of games, but within all their own right, they all have their own unique personalities to give their own unique value. That makes it very difficult to choose a winner. Like, for me, personally, I would choose Smash Brothers mainly not because it's, content-wise specifically, it's not any better than most of the other games on this list because, again, they're all just as good as each other, depending on what they do. But, like, I feel with Smash Brothers, that's a game that I feel is going to be what's called timeless because a lot of the games, and, like, if you look at past Smash Brothers titles, like, a lot of people will not stop playing those games. Even like years after their release, they're still playing them. What's cool about this one is that not only that has that similar characteristic and aspects to it, but it offers so much value to do in that game. It's ridiculous. More so, arguably, than games like Dragon Age Inquisition, even Hearthstone, which, again, as addicting as Hearthstone is and as much as people will constantly play that game for years, I feel that Smash is in the same vein as like that, but with even more content thrown into the mix. And 8 players at the same time, I feel like that's something that's huge. That's a big deal to me.
Honestly, the 8-player thing, I'm not really into that. I tried it once and I couldn't do it again. But then again, though, I'm the type of person who's really into like the MLG scene or the 1v1 kind of competitive multiplayer thing. So I mean, I didn't really gravitate towards that as much. But what did this Smash Bros have that the other ones didn't, that really got you into this?
I think the big thing obviously is the online multiplayer, which is a huge thing or a huge improvement over Brawl, Brawl was supposed to be the one that was special for that, but because of the online capabilities of the original Wii, it wasn't showcased as much, but the game was still amazing. What this one did is not only perfected that, but added so much value and the ability to kind of include everybody in on the mix. So originally it used to be just 4 players, where you'll be able to play like that and there'll be a lot of spectators because Smash is one of those games that just gets everybody in onto watching it besides playing it. But now opening up that wide range of people to kind of join in on the game, the ability to be online, all these other modes and different like extra goodies, that's like a huge improvement over the 3DS version, and the huge improvement over Brawl is what makes that game so special and stand out amongst like the definitive Smash experience at this point. Like, it's going to be incredibly tough to see where Nintendo could take this game afterwards with like another sequel, maybe in the next generation of Nintendo consoles, but like where they could possibly go after this is mind-blowing. But for this game though, again, and a point driving back home to the rest of these nominees, even if you're like a different type of gamer, whether you like multiplayer experiences, whether you like long JRPG experiences, or just good single player experiences like that, there's something here for you in all these nominees. Like, look at Shovel Knight being nominated for Game of the Year. That's a platformer in the 8-bit style, which years ago, for whatever reason, nobody would have ever really conceived the idea of that happening. But like, the game is just so good, and what it presents to you and how it gives you everything what's going on in there is like, again, it's a contender amongst all these titles. And I love how diverse this selection is. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's the thing, is these indie guys are giving these AAA developers a run for their money. I mean, if an indie game from Yacht Club, can make an indie company can make Shovel Knight. You know, if these guys can make Shovel Knight, and you know, you don't even see Master Chief Collection in IGN.
You don't even see Titanfall
or
Destiny.
Creed. And you know, it just kind of makes you think, like, you know, what are the indie guys doing that the AAA guys aren't doing? And apparently, they're doing something right. And anyone who's played any of the AAA games, who's experienced the, you know, the hardships from those, would attest.
And you know something, also, I think this year, especially the nominees, the selection that we had, also is a testament that you don't need a huge budget to really make a presence and really stand out amongst everything going on. Because look at the budget for Destiny, $500 million, you know, if not a little bit more, you know, for putting that game out there, like putting into the game and the marketing plus for it, and that game is not nominated for Game of the Year. You would expect, you know, outside of just putting banners and whatnot all over the place, that a lot of that would have been gone into making the game special of what it is. Maybe next year or the following year we might see that game again, because that's a game that's planned over 10 years. But like, you look at all these other games that had significantly less resources devoted to them. Look at Bayonetta 2, a game that possibly would have probably never been made without the help of Nintendo, now is up for Game of the Year. Like that, that's amazing. This is just a really cool year on video games, and it's great to be a gamer at this time.
Yeah, and so what's, if not Smash Bros, what's your pick for Game of the Year?
If not Smash Bros, because I think definitively I would say Smash Brothers amongst all these titles. But if I had to choose a different title that was like a really strong honorable mention like that, I would give it to South Park, because you know, a lot of people would disagree with me, but I feel like that was a game that, even though it came earlier this year, was a game that not only had an established identity, but had such a personality and the experience that it presented. Even if you weren't a fan of the series, it had plenty of stuff to kind of get everybody caught up, plenty of nods and kind of like, you know, flavor and content to it that really gave it such a good, fun, definitive RPG experience, which is awesome. And I put that up against Dragon Age and, you know, Shadows of Mordor any day. Like, I think that it was that good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I never played the South Park video game. I used to watch the show religiously, maybe the first, second season. So I don't think I would be able to grab some of the you know, the inside jokes that maybe this video game would have. But it's on my to-do list for sure. Maybe I'll play it.
And that's one thing. All these games everybody should play. Like, all these games are that good. Like Shadows of Mordor, Dragon Age Inquisition, you know, Shovel Knight, Child of Light, Bayonetta 2, they're all amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's like I said, it's on my to-do list, and you know, I think if I had to, you know, pick my Game of the Year, it would have to be Valiant Hearts, and I'll keep going back to that game just because it did a great job. It was a World War I video game, and there wasn't any kind of like traditional shooting, or it proved that it didn't have to be like this big AAA shooter World War video game, right? It really, you know, just pushed the story, it pushed the emotion, the music really helped set the tone of the video game, and I can't recommend it enough, guys. If you haven't played it yet, play it.
I hear so many good things about that game, and I want to play it. Whenever I have time, like getting through all these titles, I want to sit down and play that game, because I remember seeing it. I remember seeing it at E3. Like, it was a big deal when that game came out.
It's short and sweet. Like, it's maybe 6-7 hours. It's not going to take up too much of your time. It's like a book. It's a good read. You know, it's worth checking out.
Nice. Everybody loves a good read. Loves a good story. But with that being said, though, you know, besides all the Game of the Year nominees for this year, what are your expectations for next year, for 2015? Like, knowing how good this year has been, like, where do we go from here?
I just want games to work, man.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, like, that's one thing. Everybody should take note from Nintendo, because they had the most games, if not all their games, worked upon release. Like, there was no broken stuff, no patches that were like so crazy to fix game-breaking bugs or anything. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want them to work, man. Like, one of the biggest disappointments of this year was Master Chief Collection. And granted, if you look at the entire package as a whole, you know, you have
such great value for $60.
You have all of the Master Chief titles in, you know, 1080p, 60 frames per second. You know, it's a great deal. But if you're someone, like I said, like me, who's more into the online multiplayer aspect of Halo, you would know that the servers are just they're horrendous. They're really
still garbage right now. Like, they have not fixed that, and that's a damn shame. Like, it's not as bad as Drive Club, which I think is like the worst like possible launch this year.
The worst offender.
The worst offender this year, which is a damn shame because like it's tough dealing with that, especially as a developer. I'm pretty sure, like when you're in code red for like a good chunk of the end of the year, that's like the worst position you have to be at, especially when all these big titles are coming out and you kind of can't compete like that. But with the Master Chief Collection, that was so hyped up and such a big deal, and like everybody was expecting that game to be amazing because for $60 you get those 4 games and some of which are redone for the Xbox One like that.
Yeah.
That was that was like a layup, and like I don't know what happened with the servers or whatnot, or like some of the devs, like what was going on with them in the servers and such. But like that was a damn shame that game could work out because I was looking forward to playing Halo 1 like in the new style of graphics and Halo 2 Anniversary in the new style of graphics. So
yeah, I mean it's awesome when you can get into a match, but that's the thing is it will take you a long time, even after the fact that they just released a like 528 meg patch. I still had to wait like maybe 5-10 minutes just to get into a match, and I know it's first world problems, but it's still if you're gonna send me something, if I'm gonna pay $60 for this, try and make it work. I understand there's problems obviously with development and stuff, but I think this is where they should have had like a beta.
Yeah.
Betas definitely help stress test servers, and the fact that they didn't have this, it just makes it feel like it was rushed. They had to get it out by Halo 2's anniversary, and I just kind of feel like they dropped the ball in the online multiplayer aspect.
Definitely. I mean, we're getting the beta for Halo 5 Guardians. Please, 343, don't mess this up.
Yeah, and I don't think they will. Like I said, just going back to betas help. I think multiplayer video games need betas for this exact reason.
Do you also think that, because multiplayer games need betas, that we should always have demos for games? Like, we don't want another Assassin's Creed Unity type of thing that would happen.
Right. I mean, it's really 50-50, like if you from a development side, if you give people your video game early to try out, that may like affect sales. They might just say like I'll just not buy this video game, as opposed to just not having a demo and someone's like, oh well, I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and spend $60. So it's really like a marketing thing, but I feel it's a missed opportunity if they don't have them. Even if it's like a mission, at least it's enough to kind of get feedback from people. How are they going to make the video game better without feedback?
True,
right?
Very true. I mean, the common consumer now these days, the common gamer that's going out and buying stuff is a little more cautious now these days. So it's a good way to kind of ease their thing. But one of the things that I will say about 2015, I think this is the year we're finally going to get Final Fantasy 15. That's a big game for me. I've waited for that for a very long time, and I think that we're going to get it at the end of next year. And I think this game specifically, though, is going to put Final Fantasy back on the map because
you think so?
Yeah, because 2 things. Number one, they got the guy that created Kingdom Hearts doing most of the battle system, most of that stuff with that game. Even though another person took over the directing job for him, but he had a big hand in that, and I think a lot of his work and stuff is really what's going to stand out. Because keep in mind, that game and Kingdom Hearts 3 are the 2 games that everybody's anticipating for Square Enix. But this game is a little more important because not only has it been in development for so long, but like this is a different type of take on the Final Fantasy numbered games, where it's not so much turn-based or active battle time. This is real-time fighting, which I think is a really good positive and one of the standing points of a lot of the Square Enix titles because, again, it came with Kingdom Hearts like that originally, and this could really do it. And the story, too, because everybody really hated the story of Final Fantasy 13 and that trilogy of games. This one has more of a Romeo and Juliet type of feel to it, from some of the descriptions I've read about it, as well as like a more traditionalized take on a Final Fantasy story, which is what I think we desperately need. Like, forgetting about Final Fantasy VII being on PS4, this is the new type of freshness of what we need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot, I guess. It didn't really look appealing to me. From what I took from it was it totally looked like a bromance
road trip
film. Road trip, yeah. And I guess that's okay. I didn't know. I didn't really know that the action was it was an action RPG. I guess, like you said, Kingdom Hearts.
Definitely.
I thought it would be more of a traditional turn-based RPG video game.
No, it's real-time battle.
I guess that's okay. I guess it kind of widens it up a little bit, but I guess I'll still try it. I mean, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, more into like the older ones, like 1 through 4.
Yeah, you like that turn-based battle. with Final Fantasy.
Yeah, and well, we'll see. I guess.
I personally, in all honesty, real quick thought before we move on, I kind of believe that if Final Fantasy 13 or that trilogy of games had that turn-based battle system instead of the active battle thing we got, it probably would have been a much better game. Honestly.
If it was turn-based?
If it was more turn-based, outside of all the problems with the stories and stuff, that probably would have been like a saving grace of it. Because the battle system for Lightning Returns is not that bad. It's just the story is horrible. God-awful. It's like, Jesus.
I was burnt out after the first one.
Yeah, definitely.
That one was pretty long.
Oh, man, it was just horrible. But with that being said, though, Peter, it's about that time.
It's about that time.
Time for the IGN Community Spotlight. So please tell us, who is this week's IGN Community Spotlight?
Sure. So this week's IGN Community Spotlight goes to Harold Flowers, and Harold is this week's, he's the spotlight. He's a blogger, and you can check him out on his MyIGN page, Harold Flowers. He recently posted a blog in regards to the possible Yellow Jacket image from the movie Ant-Man. If you guys are fans of that, or you're looking forward to that movie, check out his page. Let's see. If you want to give him a shout out on PSN, if you guys are PlayStation peeps, you can send him a message at SpectacularSB490. That's SpectacularSB490, and definitely give him some love. Definitely give him a shout out on his MyIGN page or on the PSN.
Yeah, get him some friends over there. Get him some comments. The man does some good work.
Yeah,
hands down. So, with that being said, though, let's do a little bit of cleanup right now, because we gotta thank everybody for the reception that they gave us for our first episode, which is, again, awesome, hands down. Yeah. But we want this podcast to be something even greater. We're looking to aim really high with this and turn it to something that everybody can enjoy, as well as everybody can spread the word about it and become something that even we couldn't imagine what it could possibly be like that. So, in order to do that, though, we need your guys' help. We need, a lot of your guys' feedback. We need a lot of action from you guys, as well as what we bring to you when you guys listen to the podcast, okay? We're finally on iTunes, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Which, we thought it was going to take a lot longer, but it happened within a day, which is awesome.
Yeah, it happened really quick. I was
super quick.
It
was like instant transmission. When me and Peter heard about that, not only was I Ric Flair walking around the building, but Peter was flipping tables. He was like, "Yo, that's it. We're done. We're good." But we got to take it even further, because not only all the podcast episodes going forward from now are going to be available on iTunes, so you guys can listen on your Apple devices, your iPads, your iPods, even your iPod Shuffle if you got that thing. But we want you guys to go over there, hopefully rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us, and download the podcast. Again, so that way we could kind of make a presence and get a little bit more awareness about the podcast. IGN All-Star Community Podcast for everybody out there. But also, we want you guys to help contribute and help be a part of the podcast. We want you guys to not only follow us on Twitter, our individual Twitters, which I'm at VenomousFatman1 on Twitter, and Pete.
I'm at Pete_Lopez. That's Pete_L0PEZ.
On Twitter. And also, we have an All-Star Community Podcast Twitter account where you guys could also send us stuff at allstarpod on Twitter, which is, again, at allstarpod on Twitter. And we also have an email for you guys to send us questions and comments for the show that we could hopefully read, on our next episode. It's allstarpod@hotmail.com. Yes, we're doing the Hotmail account. We had to kind of work with this. We're over here making the sausage for you guys. Got to bear with us. We're cooking, okay? We're cooking, all right? We got allstarpod@hotmail.com. Send us your questions that hopefully we can answer any of them on the podcast on our subsequent episodes. Again, we hope they get a bunch from you guys, again, because we want you guys to be a part of this. And also send us your feedback. If there's stuff that we could do better, is there stuff that hopefully you want to see or you want to see us hear us talk about and such, put it out there for us. Let us know, because we want again, we want this podcast to be a little bit influenced and have you guys involved with it, because we want to make it as good as we possibly can.
Yeah, this is your guys' podcast. It's not ours.
It's not.
We want to make this all about you guys. So one of the cool things that our friend from IGN, Orion, is going to actually hook us up with a little figurine, and that's going to be a giveaway to you, listener. So what we need you guys to do is anyone who basically has the best question for us to answer on the podcast, you will actually get a Tomb Raider figurine sent from IGN. And when you do that, just send us an email. Like Jake James said, it's at allstarpod@hotmail.com. And be sure to leave us your mailing address and your first name. That way we can give you a proper shout out. Leave us your Twitter handle
and your question.
And
Don't forget your question, because you know there's gonna be that one guy that like shows up, sends us an email with no question, and his name is gonna be like, okay, like give me my figure. It'll be like,
sorry, guy.
Sorry, dude. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send him a response saying like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, and it can be about anything. It doesn't. I mean, let us know what your game of the year was. What was your worst gaming moment in 2014? What do you expect from 2015? It can be anything.
But if you want the figure, you gotta send us a question to the email. Again, allstarpod@hotmail.com. So hope you guys, are able to send it all out. Again, once you hear this, hear this episode, we'll be able to read all through them. Or read all three of them. Read through all of them like that, and we'll choose a winner on the next episode, which should be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
I'm excited.
Look at it. We're giving stuff away. We're giving stuff to them. We're hitting the ground running. We're making an impact over here. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, Peter, that's pretty much going to wrap things up. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Send us your feedback, guys. Give us a review on iTunes. That's pretty much it. Thank you, everyone, for the Twitter follows, for the shout outs, for any kind of feedback through MyIGN. Thank you to IGN
Definitely
for blasting us all over your
blasting
website.
Us, literally.
That was awesome.
They shot us through a rocket.
I did a backflip.
They literally shot us through a rocket and put us on the spotlight of the IGN blogs page, which was amazing. Really cool. I mean, again, big thank you to everybody that gave us the feedback and gave us the reception in which we received. But that being said, that's going to do it for this episode of the IGN All-Star Community Podcast, and we will talk to you guys again real soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.
Peace.